Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education. Commerce theory part for the second year's English medium. The chapter that we are dealing with, the 6th chapter, and this is the 7th session of the chapter. So, what are the things the government of Telangana is providing to the remaining sectors? Let us focus. The government is actually promoting the participation of Telangana small and medium enterprises in the trade affairs, exposition, buyer-seller meets, and other such events. So, the government of Telangana encouraging the medium and small enterprises to involve in the trade affairs, expositions, and buyer-seller meets. So, the government encouraging these small units to come forward and participate in each and everything, how the large and big industrial units are performing. About 20 lakh acres of land is identified as a unit for cultivation in Telangana. So 20 lakh acres of land, okay, 20 lakh acres of land in Telangana is identified for the cultivation, but which is transferred to the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Corporation. The land which is identified for the cultivation in Telangana, that has been transferred to the industrial units, okay, that has been transferred to the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Corporation, that is TSIIC, okay, for establishing industrial parks. The 20 acres of land is transferred to the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Corporation to establish industrial parks. The TSIIC develops all required infrastructure in the industrial parks. So, the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Corporation has developed those all infrastructure facilities which are necessary in order to continue the industrial units in those industrial parks. What are those facilities? Means like approach roads, means they are approach roads, means they are attached to national highways, water supply, industrial tower, and etc. These things are provided infrastructure facilities by the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Corporation. The government of Telangana is earmarking 10% of water from all existing and new irrigation sources for industrial use. So 10% of the irrigation, that water is completely transferring to the industrial units development. So the industries require the water and power both for their day-to-day operations. So the Telangana government is giving 10% of water from all existing and new irrigation sources, okay. The skill development programs which are aimed to train the young entrepreneurs are undertaken by the Telangana State Accelerate SSI Skill Training Center for the Industries and Commerce Development Department. Okay, for the development of the young entrepreneurs. In order to develop the young entrepreneurs, the Telangana government has undertaken a program, that is Telangana State Accelerated Skill Training Centers. Okay, means the Telangana government is going to develop the skills, those skills which are necessary for the young youth entrepreneurs in order to become a successful entrepreneur and also to start the industrial units in the industrial parks. So, the Telangana State Industrial Development and Entrepreneur Advancement Incentive Scheme is offering the following incentives to the entrepreneurs. So, the Telangana State Industrial Development, okay, and the Entrepreneur Advancement Incentive Scheme, these things are offering special types of things for the incentive to the entrepreneurs. Some of the incentives means some of the motivation is giving to the new entrepreneurs by the Telangana government, and they are started some of the schemes, okay. So, what are those? Let us see. Stamp duty reimbursement. Stamp duty reimbursement means if they are paying, if these entrepreneurs are paying a lot of amount of stamp duty, in such case the Telangana government is refunding those things, means repaying those stamp duty again to those entrepreneurs. Land cost rebate. if they are purchasing the land at a higher cost, then the government is giving back a certain fund back to those entrepreneurs. Land conversion cost. So in order to convert the land, means in order to convert the registration, for that whatever the cost will be occurred, for that also the government is giving back money. Power cost reimbursement, whatever the power cost is happened when they are using the power, whatever the power cost is happened, for that when they are paying that bill, power bill, for that also the government is giving refund, means reimbursement. Investment subsidy. So for whatever the investments they are doing, for that the government is providing certain loans, and the government is just not taking any kind of principal amount or interest amount from those entrepreneurs, just providing loans, that's it. Just like for the farmers nowadays, the government is giving that Raitu Bandhu, same way they are giving the investment subsidy. Next, VAT reimbursement. VAT is a tax, value added tax. Okay, VAT means value added tax. If there is a VAT, then the government is giving the reimbursement facility for the entrepreneurs. Interest subsidy. So if what I have told you before, that if the government is giving any kind of loan, on that loan no need to pay the principal amount, no need to pay the interest. Just I told about the farmers, what the government of Telangana has given for the farmers. In the same way, these will be also applicable for the industries. Next thing is seed capital for first generation entrepreneur. So the providing the seed capital means the first capital which is needed for the first generation entrepreneur. Means first generation entrepreneur means the entrepreneur who is newly entering into this industrial unit. He has not been entered even before. Training and skill development cost reimbursement. If they are getting any training, or for that training any cost is occurred, for that also the government of Telangana is going to give reimbursement facility, and etc. facilities are providing by the government of Telangana. This is very important question in the exam point of view. No need to worry. Just like they will ask questions individually. Write the benefits, whatever the benefits giving by the Telangana government to the SC/ST entrepreneurs in this way, or write some of the important facilities which are giving by the Industrial Infrastructure Corporation. Okay, IIC, TS IIC, explain about handcraft and artisans schemes. So in this way they will ask the question. So you have to read these all the topics what we have discussed. Very much important question. Yes, next startups. Startups means in the name itself there is there. Meaning start up means starting stage, the first stage. Okay. A startup is a company that is in the first stage of its operation. Means it is in the initial stage, in the first stage of its operation. Okay. Startup companies attempt to capitalize on developing a product or service for which the entrepreneur believes that there is a demand in the market. So these companies, startups means the companies which are going to launch such a product or the service in the market, that these entrepreneur will believe that there is such demand for those product or service in the market. For taking that demand as a target, they are going to focus on it. Okay, in the earlier stage of any startup, life expenses are more than revenue because of the reason that finance raised from sources like banks, development institutions, NBFCs and private loans. So in the initial stage, in the first stage of these startups, of these enterprises, in the first stage they can't able to generate more profits, but they have to face more expenses, and also they have to face some of the losses also. Sometimes they have to face the losses also in the starting stage, because in the starting stage, how when we are child, we can't able to stand properly, we will fall number of times. After falling number of times we stand up. In the same way the company is also, it fall number of times in the starting stage, and later it will become the topmost company. One company or one thing, even in the life also, if a person is reaching to the heights, it doesn't mean he is doing some magic or he is doing some type of techniques. It is just based on them hard work. Here also, if the entrepreneur do the hard work, if he do the work very smartly, then he can rise his company very easily. But in the initial stage, whether the company or industry, whatever it may be, it has to face the number of losses, and also it has to face some type of expenses, and they can't able to generate more revenue. Revenue means income or profit. So they can't able to generate that thing, but they can generate more expenses and more amount of cost they have to spend in the initial stage of the startup. So prerequisites, company age. The period of existence or operation should not exceed 10 years from the date of incorporation. So the existence of the company should not exceed the 10 years from the date of its incorporation. Date of its incorporation. Incorporation means from the date of its registration, it should not exceed the time duration of the 10 years. Okay. So the remaining prerequisites we will discuss in the next session. In the 8th session, we have complete topic regarding the startup. In detail, we are going to discuss the stages of startup in the next session.